Hi everyone, today we'll be learning about aspirin, how it was established, synthesized, and how it works. Aspirin is currently the most widely used drug worldwide and has been clearly one of the most important pharmacological achievements of the 20th century. If you look at the data, around 40,000 metric tons of aspirin are consumed annually around the globe, equivalent to roughly 100 billion tablets each year. Historians of the medicine have traced its birth in 1897, but the fascinating history of aspirin actually dates back to greater than 3,500 years when willow bark was used as a painkiller and antipyretic by Sumerians and Egyptians, and then by great physicians from ancient Greece and Rome. The modern history of aspirin precursors salicylate begins in 1763 with Edward Stone, who first described their antipyretic effects, and continued in the 18th century with many researchers involved in their extraction and chemical synthesis. Joseph Buchner, a German chemist, was the first person to isolate and extract the compound salicin. Further modification to salicin resulted in the synthesis of acetyl salicylic acid, first synthesized by Charles Gerhard, albeit in an unstable and impure form. The discovery of aspirin is customarily said to have resulted from Felix Hoffmann's rheumatic father encouraging his son to produce a medicine devoid of the unpleasant effects of sodium salicylate. Hoffmann, a chemist in the pharmaceutical laboratory of the German dye manufacturer Friedrich Bayer, consulted the chemical literature and came across the synthesis of acetyl salicylic acid, and then prepared the first sample of pure acetyl salicylic acid on August 1897. This was marketed in 1899 under the registered trademark of aspirin. So what's the synthetic process? So Hoffmann basically used readily available salicylic acid and combined it with acetic anhydride, which resulted in the formation of acetyl salicylic acid, which is aspirin basically. So despite widespread use of salicylate containing substances for many centuries, the exact mechanism by which aspirin exerts its anti-inflammatory and analgesic effect was unknown until 1971. Research by British pharmacologist Sir John Vane led to the discovery of its mechanism of action, and he was awarded the Nobel Prize in 1982 for his work. Aspirin and other NSAIDs inhibit the activity of an enzyme called cyclooxygenase. So basically, COX converts a membrane phospholipid, arachidonic acid, to prostaglandin and thromboxane. Prostaglandin are responsible for transmission of pain messages to the brain and inflammation, while thromboxane are associated with blood clotting that causes heart attack. So suppose if you inhibit the formation of prostaglandin and thromboxane, you're basically suppressing the body's sensation for pain, and that's how aspirin works. So let's look at a pictorial presentation. This is COX and this is the catalytic active site where arachidonic acid goes, and COX results in its oxygenation, converting it to prostaglandin. So if you look closely, the serine residue is essential for the conversion. Now what aspirin does is it acetyl the serine residue. Now arachidonic acid can't be converted into prostaglandin, and now we no longer feel the pain. So this is how aspirin works in a very short and crisp manner. I hope you guys like the video. Please do like, share, and subscribe.